لظرف طارئ خارج منطقة مكة المكرمة واجهه معالي الدكتور أسامة البار أمين العاصمة المقدسة، فهو يعتذر منكم عن المشاركة في هذه الجلسة. سوف يرأس هذه الجلسة نيابة عن الدكتور نبيل بن عبد القادر كوشك وكيل الجامعة للأعمال والإبداع المعرفي.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله. نبدأ بإذن الله تعالى الجلسة الأولى والتي يشارك فيها 3 متحدثين من الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية ومن المملكة المتحدة ومن كندا. نبدأ بالمشاركة الأولى لسعادة الدكتور عبدول علي، وهو من كلية بابسون. وعبدول يركز في أبحاثه ودراساته على تسويق ريادة الأعمال وإدارة المنتج الجديد وتحويله إلى الأسواق واستراتيجياتها ونتائجها. وقد نشرت أبحاثه في مجلات علمية مختلفة عن الإدارة والإبداع التقني، ومجلة الاقتصاد الإداري والقرار، ومجلة أبحاث الأعمال وأبحاث التسويق. جامعة بابسون لا يخفى على المشاركون أنها من أهم الجامعات في الولايات المتحدة الأمريكية، إن لم تصنف في العام الماضي الجامعة رقم 1 في ريادة الأعمال وتخريج طلابها من الطلاب المتميزين في ريادة الأعمال. وقد قام الدكتور عبدول بكتابة عدد من الكتب في مجال الابتكار وريادة الأعمال. تفضل دكتور عبدول علي بالبدء في تقديم مشاركتكم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, distinguished director, guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really privileged and honored to be here with you. On behalf of Babson College, I convey our warm wishes and success for this endeavor, and hopefully it will be a great success for you and in near future. The title of my presentation today is Big E and Little E of Entrepreneurship, a Babson Perspective. Now, you must be wondering, what is the big E and little e? After all, the word entrepreneurship starts with the letter E. And so we want to make a distinction between the discipline perspective and the bigger context through which the entrepreneurship works. And we'll give you a Babson perspective. So the title shows something about entrepreneurship and Babson, and you must be wondering why entrepreneurships and why Babson? What does Babson has to do with entrepreneurship, and how do we make a distinction between little e and big E, and what is our experience with this perspective? So this is the agenda of my outline of my today's presentation. And if I sound a little bit not so sharp, please excuse me because I missed my connecting flight, arrived last night at 2 o'clock, then performed Umrah and didn't sleep for the last 48 hours. So please excuse me if I'm not that very coherent for a few minutes, okay? So why entrepreneurship? Why is entrepreneurship important? The previous speakers talks about entrepreneurship in Saudi Arabia and the Middle East. And if you look at around the whole world, the things are changing. There's a lot of disruptions. There's a global climate change, the economic superpower emerging in the Asia. In fact, one of the former foreign minister of Australia said, in the last 500 years, economic superpower was always with the West. And in the last 200 years, over 200 years, economic superpower was always with a democratic country. And now for the first time, after 500 years of Western domination, the Chinese and the Asian emergence is emerging. And as a result, it's creating a lot of disruption along with the technological change, intense competition, and global warming. So how does entrepreneurship help in this situation? And what we claim at Babson, that entrepreneurship can provide lots of solutions to our challenges and the problems we are facing in today's world. So to make a difference, entrepreneurs are job creators, not job consumers. President Hu of China, when he visited US a couple of years ago, when President George Bush was the president of the United States, and President Bush asked President Hu of China, what keeps you awake in the night? And President Bush was expecting he will talk about the competition or enmity between the neighbors and so on. But to his surprise, President Hu replied to President Bush saying that What keeps me awake is job creation. Every year, millions of Chinese are entering into the job market, and I have to keep them busy and keep them working, okay? And entrepreneurs is the solution, because entrepreneurs create jobs, they don't consume jobs. And entrepreneurs, through this job creation, create the economic well-being of the country, and as a result, promote the social growth in the country. And entrepreneur leaders create value everywhere. It's not just the Western phenomena, not just the Middle East phenomena, it's all over the world. So especially if you look at it in the Middle East context, the population is growing, and especially the youth population, and the government and the public sector simply cannot employ all the youth and all the people who are eligible for work. Similarly, the private sector, the large corporations simply cannot have that many jobs available. So the only way you could absorb all this young population is through job creation and through entrepreneurships. So why is Babson has to do with this entrepreneurship? So pardon me my bragging, but let me show you that entrepreneurship is in our DNA. It started with the Roger Babson, who founded our institution. In fact, our college is named after him. He started in 1919, immediately after the World War I. And he has a value for most practical and ethical ways of doing business. And he tries to promote that one of the economic causes of the war should be abolished, so that countries should not fight with each other because of economic reason. And he went on to fight about this, and he also competed in the presidential election against Roosevelt. And he also promoted the family business. He said that most of the companies, if you look around the whole world, is operated by the family businesses, and he tried to promote the family enterprises. And in fact, one of his goals of starting Babson College was to educate the sons of business people so that they can become the leader in the country. And it became a college in 1949, and then we started the entrepreneurship focus in 1978, because we teach only business, nothing else, and entrepreneurship is the main focus in our college. So how we are doing? Again, pardon my little bit of show off. So some of you may not have heard of Babson College, but I'm sure you have heard of Stanford, Harvard, MIT, University of Pennsylvania, University of California, Berkeley. So if you look at this, all these schools rank below Babson in terms of specialty on entrepreneurship in US News and World Report. And as a matter of fact, for the last 14 to 15 years, we are ranked #1 in entrepreneurship in the whole USA. Similarly, in entrepreneurship magazines, this is the last year ranking, Babson College ranked above all those other schools. And naturally, you will appreciate that must be we are doing something which was recognized by all these different peers and the competitive magazines to rank us above all those well-known names you are very familiar with. So what is the little e of entrepreneurships? Well, the little e of entrepreneurship we define from a division or discipline perspective. Like in entrepreneurship, I'm sure most of you are familiar with, is that entrepreneurs start a business, but they don't have enough resources, so they need to leverage those resources. They have to identify an opportunity and act on those opportunities, which others don't see it. And through that process, they will create the economic and social value everywhere. So this is basically the definition of the entrepreneurship as practiced and adopted by academic discipline called entrepreneurship. And we call it little e because it's very narrow view of a discipline perspective. It doesn't talk about the entrepreneurship in the overall bigger context of the world we are facing today. So how do we define the Babson perspective of entrepreneurship, which is different from a narrow focus of entrepreneurship from a discipline perspective? Well, we claim that the entrepreneurial mindset is not the exclusive domain of a lone visionary or leader, and nor it should be the subject matter of a discipline or academic division. We claim that when a team divisions and everybody works together, whether it's a for-profit, non-profit, or government agency, together they can create the economic and social value for everywhere, and it uplifts the whole society. And it does cross the national boundary. It doesn't belong to only one particular country. So this is our big definition of entrepreneurship, that we claim that entrepreneurship is not the subject matter of an individual discipline or academic division. It's an entrepreneurial mindset, entrepreneurial thought and action, which promote the entrepreneurship of all kinds. So not only starting a business, but how you are solving the problem. For example, here in Mecca, during the Hajj, you get a tremendous volume of population, but it's very temporary in nature, but you do a remarkable job in crowd control, traffic management, and all those big city problems you get in a very short span of time. And it creates lots of challenges, but you also can solve it through an entrepreneurial mindset. And that's what we are talking about, that it should be entrepreneurship of all kinds, not necessarily starting a business, but solving any problem creatively. And through that process, you create economic and social value everywhere. So this is our mission of Babson College, that we adopted this mission in 1978, as we mentioned earlier, that we want to educate leaders who create the economic and social value everywhere. So we are not just focusing on money, but we're also talking about how it benefits the whole society and all the stakeholders, not only your customers, but your employee, your community, your partners, and the country and the environment. So we want to make a distinction between big E from a broader perspective of the society, and then the little e from an academic discipline perspective. And we want to make this distinction in 3 different areas. How do we do research? How do we design our curriculum and teach in our classes? And what are the co-curricular activity which is outside the classroom and through which we promote entrepreneurship? And we do this in many different ways. Type of culture we have in our organizations, among our students, among our faculty, among our staff, type of resources we deploy, the infrastructure we have, and the innovation and creativity we sustain in our academic environment, and how do we govern the whole administrative structure. So we claim that entrepreneurship is the method. Some are born entrepreneurs, but you can also learn entrepreneurship through some practice and a process. And it can be applied in a different situation, and not only just creating a new venture or new businesses. It's a powerful social change agent, and it provides for the simultaneous creation of the social, economic, and environmental issues. And through this, the value creation and value captures are realized. Hopefully, through that process, you will have a better world in the future. So what is the Babson DNA? In the Babson DNA, we study the method of entrepreneurial thought and action. The ETA stands for entrepreneurial thought and actions. It's just not starting a business, but your mindset, how do you think entrepreneurially and how do you act entrepreneurially. That builds the capability to act in the face of extreme uncertainty. So you have to have a cognitive ambidexterity. Ambidexterity means that both of your hands you are equally skilled. So not only you have to have a causal or reasoning efficiency, but at the same time, you should be also comfortable in dealing with ambiguity. So you should not only use your causal reasoning, but you should also use your effectual reasoning, go by sometime intuition, sometime your guess, and sometime by the deductive logics. And you have to be excellent in both ways of doing business. So you shouldn't just promote the causal reasoning, but you should also do through the deductive reasoning.
Excuse me? You have 3 minutes left.
3 minutes?
Yep.
Oops. Then I will then go through a little bit more then, okay? So what we have done is that in Babson, we have eliminated the different boundaries, and we try to work together. There's no such thing as marketing division or finance division. We work through a diverse population. We have different types of programs. In our first year of the student, when they come to Babson, we put them into teams, and they start a business. Babson gives them $3,000, and they start a new business. They form a company, they sell, and the profit then goes to the charities. And through this, student exercise the entrepreneurial experiences. Similarly, our graduate has a similar experience-based curriculum. In the interest of time, I'll just skip a little bit, and so I'll just show you here how entrepreneurship has helped our student. When they go for a job market, we interview our student, and they claim that they have enhanced creativity and innovative thinking. They think outside the box. They develop the mindset to identify opportunity, and they can work in a team, and they can leverage the scarce resources. In terms of research, we have all these different techniques and the tools, and we collect data from entrepreneurial activity all over the world. And there are universities and academic institutions all over the world has participated. And just to give you results from last year's study, we studied in 54 economies, 388 million entrepreneurs have started businesses. Out of those 388 millions, 141 millions expect to hire at least 5 people, another 65 million expect to hire 20 or more people. So you can see that entrepreneurs create jobs, and that's the one new way to solve the global problem. We have all the different types of research technique. In the interest of time, I'll not go through in detail, but what I'll do is that, sorry for excuse that, let me just go through so give you an idea how many faculty we have. We have all these different faculty, and they take 102 different classes, and most of the faculty are coming have an entrepreneurial background. They started their own businesses. And we have published a lot of things. We have a different co-curricular activity. We have a business plan competitions, and we try to do have a different types of partnership with the local Boston area companies and entrepreneurial organizations. And we also have a partnership with the engineering school next door to our campus, and our alumni is all over the world. So here's some of the things what we have learned. So if you excuse me for a few minutes, so this is what we expect, that if you really want to be successful building an entrepreneurial ecosystem, you should have a champion, you should have a clear vision, commitment to the long term, and get the entrepreneurship across all different programs and stakeholders. This is some of the companies launched by Babson alum. Home Depot, you know, Pepsi is the senior manager, but Jiffy Lube, Lycos, all these companies are launched by a Babson student. And some of this is the company you don't know now, but will be the future generations, okay? So entrepreneurship is all about getting and accessing and mobilizing resources, embracing ambiguity and uncertainty, and developing opportunity across the border. And this is the Babson's, in essence, building leadership and entrepreneurship. And this is what we started in 1978, and today we recognize the #1 in entrepreneurship because it's a hard work, dedication, and through collaboration like school like UQ. So I want to conclude my presentation with some thought. This is from Muhammad Yunus, the Nobel laureate from the Grameen Bank founder, who said, "We are all entrepreneurs, but very few have the opportunity to practice it." And finally, I end with this message from Mahatma Gandhi from India, whose message about wealth without work, workship without sacrifice, politics without principle, pleasure with conscience, knowledge without character, commerce without morality, and science without humanity is not good. And this is what we try to practice in our business environment and with our partner. Thank you very much. Shukran.
شكرا دكتور عبدول على هذه المشاركة لكلية بابسون التي شاركت في تأسيس عدد من الشركات لخريجيها، وأيضا خلق فرص من العمل للملايين من خريجي الجامعة. ننتقل الآن إلى جامعة أكسفورد. المتحدث الدكتور ديفيد باغرست. درس ديفيد الكيمياء في جامعة أكسفورد قبل أن يكمل الدكتوراه في تطبيقات الموجات الكهرومغناطيسية في التركيبات الكيميائية، وبعد أن عمل كمحاضر متفرغ في الكيمياء لمدة عامين في كلية إمبريال في لندن، انضم إلى مجموعة كوكسون كرئيس للمجموعة للمنتجات المتقدمة في مركز المجموعة التكنولوجي، ثم انضم إلى أكسفورد تراست كمدير للبرامج الصناعية في عام 1996، حيث عمل على دعم تأسيس ونمو شركات التقنية وإدارة حاضنات أعمال التقنية وإدارة وشبكات الأعمال.